afternoon. Afternoon, folks. Hope you are all well. Let me know if I'm coming through okay. Tian, I'll go through that in a second. Sorry, I'm booking a taxi for my missus who's coming back from work. And right now in Dubai, it's such a nightmare getting a taxi for some reason. So excuse me, I might have to pick up my phone 5 minutes into the stream. Okay, Tian, let me go through that first. Quit your job to pursue this, and first month is not so great. Sorry to hear that, buddy. So what's happened in April? Is it just been a kind of drawdown, a losing streak, or what has it been? One thing I'll tell you is please, from experience, and I know you're experienced enough to know this, is not to over risk and go into that thing of shit. I need to get the money back. So I know you know that, but yeah, it's just a horrible feeling from experience doing that. And yeah, it's just one of those things, it's kind of similar to when you start an FTMO and you go on a little drawdown to start and you're thinking, well, why can't I just have a good month when I start this thing? So I know how you feel, mate. I know how you feel. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. The markets are never kind, right? But you stay consistent, you stay disciplined. And, this too shall pass. That's what I usually say, yeah? This too shall pass. The good times will come around. Well, you'll make more than you lost, and you're just back at it, right? You might be just getting back to break even, but as long as you don't fuck up and over risk and over trade, trying to get that money back, you'll be fine, It's a long process. And just keep going, doing the right things, and you'll be okay. But yeah, I know it's very frustrating. Anyway, I've got confidence in you, mate. I've got confidence in you. You've been around for a while, certainly on my streams. So, just keep that confidence in yourself that you can do it, and you'll be fine. Just don't do anything silly. Okay, markets. And I know you won't. Okay, markets today. SPX is actually looking pretty good. I've actually got 2 trades on, which I'll go through in a second. But from a SPX 500 perspective, I was looking for this to break through this anchor here. And we're getting that now. Now, it's important that we haven't got a close yet. I'd like to see a close. I was looking at this for a potential trade as well, if I zoom in here. So remember, for me, this is kind of breaking out of this corrective channel here from this impulse. So in terms of digestion from this impulse, we look pretty good, which is why I'm a little bit more positive about the markets. Not about the yen. I know the yen should come off. It's been massively weak. That's just slightly different. However, from a market perspective, this is good. This is good. We look back at the daily chart. I know we've got a little bit of barriers here, which you probably expect coming from a corrective. But if we can breach through these now, this is the next barrier here, these moving averages, to move to the upside, this would look good. So again, we take an even deeper look at it from a weekly perspective. And I know it was all doom and gloom here on account of the Russia-Ukraine situation, which is still ongoing. But in terms of technical perspective from the markets, we've had a decent drop. And markets are obviously traditionally long. And what we're getting here is a healthy corrective from a kind of decent move to the upside since the COVID drop from a weekly perspective. So again, from an investment standpoint, looking to put a little bit of money into your investment account would be a decent time, I think, as long as you get that confirmation and close. But yeah, maybe you come back and retest, but yeah, it looks pretty good. So I think stock market up is my personal bias. Stock market to the upside. Okay, dollar. The dollar is coming off a little bit, or it was this morning. I'm not going to go and say sell this dollar right now. Yes, if we close pretty bearish, it could be a possible naked Forex setup. And would look a little bit worrisome for this dollar upside potential. However, on this 4-hour chart, it's not looking nice. I'll give you that. It's certainly not looking nice. This dominant candles here are not great. If we go to where this is rejected from, I presume it might be roughly around the 50. Yeah, I mean, look at there. Pretty much around that 50 area, which we know the US dollar does like. So we're in this zone of pullback where, yes, we could continue now. I don't like this price action. What I would like to see from a dollar continuation point of view is a complex corrective. So if we get something like this, creation of a possible ABC, you know, my favorite ABC before movement to the upside, this for me would be quite good. If we don't get that, right, and we break underneath, and we break underneath these lows with a little bit of strength, I would be a little bit worried about this dollar, purely because of what we're seeing here and here. So at the moment, if we can get a little bit of bullish pressure over US session, it may look pretty good for a complex. It could go because it has hit that 50. You know, we saw the last corrective here wasn't very nice, but it did push on. So we could get something similar, but I would wait to see on those lower time frames if this potential momentum we're getting on the 30-minute 1 hour stalls, which it could be doing right now. You know, notice from here, possible pullback, inverted hammer with a little bit of volume. This could come down. It could. But my personal bias would be a complex corrective and continuation in that dollar trend. I think longer term, the dollar looks decent for movement to the upside. Okay, trades I'm in. So I'm just in a 225 trade here. I was looking at this. Well, I wasn't streaming on Monday because it was Easter. So hopefully everybody had a good Easter. But I've just placed this in about an hour ago. No, 2 hours ago, I think it was. 2 hours ago. On account of this head and shoulders. Again, very similar to the SPX coming out of this corrective. We had a few bars here of consolidation, which was enough for me. When I was looking at it, we were here, and I said, I need another 4-hour bar just to digest this impulse a little bit more before I take the break to the upside. Okay? So if I zoom in here, this movement here is okay because we've got a push, we've got a nice period of consolidation, so it's healthy, right? Healthy. Fake out to the upside. Fake out to the upside, which is good, but this fake out did not take down. And again, a decent bullish 180 here. Another bar of consolidation, and now I'm looking for this to move to the upside. TP1 at this area. The only issue I had was I wanted a better stop. I wanted a better risk reward somewhere around here, but I didn't have an anchor, right? So I didn't have an anchor to my trend because, you know, with this bar we had one, but this is lower. We had two above here. So I didn't really want to go all the way down here. I think that was a little bit too much. So I was looking for the previous anchor, which was this particular bar here, which coincides with these two moving averages. A little bit better risk reward. And we do have these two moving averages as areas of dynamic support to price. So I'm in that. Again, from a daily perspective, I like it. I know we have the 20 here, but from a general point of view, I think if this does decide to push, i.e. give us another one of this, then it could be in a good position for a trade. And if we look again at the weekly chart, most specifically this recent price action here, this is pretty good. Impulse, little pullback within it. If I zoom in so you can see it better again, here. So if we see this latest 2 weeks, here, pretty bullish. A few weeks of consolidation within it, and then we could be ready to move, RTM. And I think that is certainly worth a trade, despite that 20 being in our way. So I like that. I like that. And anytime I get the opportunity to buy indexes, I take it with open arms. Take it with open arms. Tian, I have a request for a video recap on how to use Fibonacci. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. I don't think I've done that, actually. But yeah, I'll do that. Fibonacci video, no problem. No problem. Okay, watch this. I'm also in Eurocad. This one's going quite nicely. Stop is now moved down to break even. So it was kind of doing nothing for about 28 hours here. Had a push on. I thought this would be sold into. I thought I may have I've gotten stopped out first before it did. But the Forex gods were on my side this time. We got a little bit of consolidation. Attempted to break up, and I know we had some CAD news, which the market seems to have liked. And now we are coming back down to the downside. The power of the trend is continuing. Stop is now, as I said, at break even, and looking for this to push through and again do something like this. Would be lovely to continue on with that downside movement. So Eurocad and 225, the two ones that I'm in. Daily is good. You know, daily is good. We're hugging around that 20. It's not too extended, and it could move pretty well. It could move pretty well. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I'm up to, right now, my equity is 10.2, which is basically 2%. Obviously, it's still looking for that 10% to scale. up around, I don't know, 135 bucks, but on 1080 on this Psi Network challenge. Again, nothing that is going to, I'm certainly not going to withdraw any money, not 50 bucks. I'm not really interested in that. And you guys watching as well, if you're thinking doing something like this, we just look at scaling and scaling and scaling and scaling, right? We're not in this for, well, certainly I'm not in this, and you shouldn't be in this for 100 bucks, 200 bucks profit. That is nothing. That's nothing. We're in this for a couple of thousand to make our effort worthwhile. And how do we do that? We be patient, consistent, and we build accounts up. Okay, watch this today. Here we go, some breakouts and a potential aggressive entry actually on pound USD, which actually I might be in. Oh no, it's completely gone now. I was looking at pound USD just before I got on screen. It was looking like a potential rejection here. So I'm still looking at this short. We've got a cup with handle, head and shoulders. Just because it's pushing on right now doesn't mean that I'm changing my view on this, not until we break above these highs. I am looking for aggressive entry short somewhere around here, possibly around that 40-60 box from this latest impulse. With that dollar coming off a little bit, we're expecting this pullback. But the power of the trend, similar to Eurocad, is to the downside, right? So although this looks okay, remember what happened last time here. Okay, sold into, decent bar, sold into. And I'll continue to go with that until we break through this anchor. So from a money point of view, from a trading point of view, I'm looking for this to come back down. In which case, this will look great. You know, the 200 is coming down with that extra pressure on it, dynamic resistance to price, which we obviously rejected up here. And if we can get price to come down, give us some accumulation. The good thing here is the 20 period is close by. And I would take that to the downside all day of the week. All day of the week, something like this. Break down, stop above here. Thank you very much. I will take that. So pound USD looks quite good. Pound USD looks quite good. 225 I've done. I'm in. That was this morning. USD CAD. USD CAD. I believe this may have gone. Yeah, that's unfortunate actually. I really wanted this trade. It was in a great position for a 4-hour break of B wave. So ABC here. I was looking for this to get some reaction at this point in time, but with CAD strengthening up because of that data, with the dollar weakening off, we've kind of just bashed through it. So I've got to look at this now from either I can look at it from a 4-hour perspective, but it's got to come down here, and a daily perspective. So again, another one that I didn't get an aggressive entry in, unfortunately, but we're creating our cup with handle. Now again, the good thing about this is our 20 period is close by. So what I would need for this to come down, tag this area again. Okay, I don't want this to break through. If it does break through, I can look for a breakout retest because that would be valid. But what I want, because you know I don't want to take a break from quite deep, is a few bars of consolidation here, maybe about 4 or 5 days, creating a better risk reward also, and taking that break to the downside. So USD CAD is another one I do like, but you know, it's just unfortunate I didn't get that setup because you know these are areas that I really like to take breaks from. My favorite areas to take break from. And again, if we go back to Eurocad, here, this was the same. Excuse me, guys. Here's the taxi calling. Sorry. give me 1 second. Hello. You're there? You're there? Okay, I tell my wife now. Okay, I tell my wife now. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Okay, sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Okay, yeah, so basically with Eurocad, what I'm talking about with B-Wave, if anybody is new here. Hey, Rohit, mate. ABC, and you often get a good reaction. And fair enough, this took its time, but we're getting a decent reaction around that area. So it's a better area to take breaks. You often get a little bit of a better risk reward than going from the lows. Now, that's not saying the lows are not valid, but it's just a personal preference that I like those breaks of B-Wave. So I think that's it. I did have USD NOK. USD NOK kind of fell off a little bit, I believe. No, I'm wrong. USD NOK has not fallen off a little bit. And actually, that is an aggressive entry for me here. That is absolutely an aggressive entry. So I talked about USD NOK last time, right? See, we've got a rejection off that 200. There's two ways to look at this. One is looking at this dominant candles, looking at that. If we come from this impulse, it looks less likely to me that this falls. Doesn't mean it can't happen, right? But because we've got some proper bullish pressure here, above these moving averages now, 20 curling up, right? I would have expected this to fall. So I'm going to take this, and the way that, again, this is forward testing a strategy. This is how I do it. I would be buying this candle here. Outside bullish engulfer. Here's our context. Cut with handle, A, B, C. Volume coming at C. Catalyst at C. That's perfect for me, okay? So I would take this. In terms of real money, I'm looking for this to come up, give us some consolidation, break out to the upside. So that's pretty close. That could be something for tomorrow. The other side of the spectrum is, are we looking at potentially this? Right, so where did I have my lines there? Because it just basically tagged right on it, right? On this trend line. I know this is getting a little bit messy. I'll take these off. I'll put that trade into the Discord, into the group after this. But the issue is, are we getting into this? So we could be within this rising wedge, right? And we in theory dictates we should fall to the downside. Right, which is obviously, you know, there's always going to be both sides of every coin, right? So there's always going to be people saying, well, I'm thinking this goes long, I'm thinking this goes short. Somebody's got to be right. And I just like the fact that we've got a real good bullish sign here on USD NOK. And as I said, from a daily perspective, it does look pretty good. You know, it does look pretty good. You would have thought this would fall. And if we look at this and we digest it a little bit more, if we look at this particular candle here, if you're a trend continuation trader on USD NOK, right? We don't see this. Hey, Simon, good to see you, mate. We don't see this, right? Even though I wouldn't take this as trend continuation. Look at this bar. A very pretty much theoretical inverted hammer coming on certainly an increase in volume. I would expect this to fall, right? Yes, okay, it can come down and fall, but I would expect this to fall then. It is digested. But the fact we've got this bar, right? This bar here, we're showing some pressure. Okay, we're not taking from this. We're moving on. We've got 5 bars. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is not closed. But normally when you see your catalyst, you want to see the market move in your direction, certainly within the next 5 bars. And we've not got that here. So I like this. I like this. So I'm going to take that as an aggressive entry on USD NOK. Sorry, guys, 1 second. The missus is calling. I'll come back 1 second. All right, sorry, guys. Sorry. That's it. I'm done now. She's organized. She's coming back home. Can you maybe talk about using volume with price action a bit, please? So I make it very simple, Simon, right? For example, for my breakouts, okay, I'll talk about the very basic scenarios I look for volume. Okay, is obviously a pullback. We're looking at volume roughly coming in here. So if we go back to the, where's a good example? Maybe the 225 is a good example. No, that's not a good example. Bitcoin or ETH? Ethereum here. Okay, here's a decent example. It's not the best, but notice here we've got a potential pullback from this latest impulse, right? So this, in terms of a catalyst, is a rejection candle. It's not a great theoretical hammer, but it's still a rejection candle. You know, sellers trying to push the market down, rejected, and we push back up, okay? Right, volume's coming in here. So this volume, and fair enough, in retrospect, it's lower from normal, but there's certainly an increase as we kind of gone from the last few days. So that is what I use to say, well, maybe institutions are getting involved in this rejection candle, which is technically a bullish sign, right? A hammer is a bullish sign. That potentially they're getting involved at the end of this pullback to send this on its latest impulse to the upside from this initial one, right? Very basic trend theory. Impulse, corrective impulse. It's how you know, trends how trends are created. So that's one of the ways. The second, in terms of my personal trading style, Okay, I'll go here. Actually, do you know what? How can I do this? I'll go to any trade, CCN, whatever. So in terms of my personal trading style for the breakout retest, okay, let's say I've got a cup with handle. The volume on this, on the context, i.e. the pre-breakout, it's not massively. I don't worry about it now. I don't have to have a certain volume signature here, here, or here. Yes, it would be great if we had volume here, volume on a push, lowering volume during this stage, maybe higher volume down here. You know, that would be great, but you're not always going to get that stuff. My main thing for my breakout retest, right, is I want to see a volume on the break. I'd like to see reducing volume on the retest, and I want to see increasing volume on the catalyst. So if we take it from a very basic point of view, if we're breaking from a cup with handle, right, this is essentially your pullback from this latest impulse, right? So I'm using volume down here where we have a potential 20-period moving average or 200, whatever it is, right? If I Z volume, I see that catalyst, i.e. a hammer, which is my favorite type of catalyst. You know, the simple things work very well. Then that tells me that institutions are getting involved. The breakout retest is potentially being accepted, and we move back to the upside, okay? So in terms of breakout retest, essentially I want increasing volume on the break, lowering volume on the retest, and a high volume on our catalyst. Continuation to the upside. My favorite type of setup. Secondly, breakouts. Let's say we have the same thing. Normally I would need a cup with handle within a cup with handle for a breakout, right? I don't mind seeing, and again, it doesn't have to happen, but I'd like to see a little bit of reduction in volume as we get to just prior to this breakout zone. Okay, for me, institutions accumulating positions, loading up in positions, and you don't know this until after, but if we see an increase in volume as we break, obviously we don't know this until we, take the break and it goes through, then that would be great in retrospect, looking back, saying, great, okay, we've seen volume on that breakout, that is a good sign. And finally, on my aggressive strategy, as if we go back to USD NOK, it's very simple. I'm just looking for volume on it again. The same thing, actually, same thing all the time. Volume on our particular catalyst coming in, and we see this here, right? Outside bullish engulfer, above these moving averages, and it's kind of a pre-breakout, and that's what I'm looking for with my aggressive. That makes sense? Rohit, Euro Pound is a short setup. Euro Pound. It'll be, so Simon, if you tune into the streams, you'll see it kind of more and more how I use it. Sometimes I'll use it as confluence, saying, well, there's volume coming in here. I kind of like that, and if you keep tuning in, which I presume you probably will, you'll kind of get to grips with what I'm looking at. Euro Pound short. I mean, yeah. Certainly a big rejection there, right? Certainly a big rejection there. Pull back from this latest here. We look at the 4 hour. Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, in terms of volume, catalyst, yeah, you could consider that pullback complete, right? It's not perfect for me, in terms of my context, but I'd rather be shorting that right now than buying it. The trend is your friend. You're going with that trend. Added confirmation would probably a break under, but an aggressive entry would be now. You're probably more conservative entry if you're going to consider this, a complex would probably be here for me. But yeah, short setup. Yeah, I agree with that, Rohit. I agree with that bias. Selling into any euro strength has made sense from all the way back here, right? Selling into any euro strength absolutely makes sense. UK market looks decent. Yeah, I agree with that. I concur, Rohit. I concur. Okay, I think that's it, right? So USD NOK I've taken. Eurocad I'm in. Is there anything you guys want me to look at before I head off? Remember, if you are interested in joining the community, the link is there at the top of the chat somewhere. 7 days free. Eurocad, what was the other one? Sorry, 225 I'm in. This'll take some time, but yeah. And that is all right. That's all right. No, nothing else. Hey, look, some of the viewers coming back. I've got 8 now. which is great. Great to see some of you back here. Appreciate it. If you can like the stream, that would be great as well. USD ZAR. Okay, I'll do USD ZAR before I go. My one of my favorite pairs, Simon, USD ZAR. Tagging that 200 on the daily. I wouldn't be buying this right now. If you're in it, you let it run, right? But I wouldn't be buying it up here. You know, if you're looking to buy it, you'd be buying on a pullback. So again, Simon, for the way that I look at markets, I know the yen's come off quite weak, but you know, that kind of stuff, you can't really predict that from a technical aspect. So because it's moved, right? Because it's moved, I would have to wait for a pullback before going long on it. You know, we could get a reaction around this 200. It's certainly, let's look at the weekly. From here, kind of coming out of this area. There's no real trends here. But I mean, 200 weekly, you could get a reaction, which is kind of what you want, right, around these 200s. So if you do get a reaction, okay, dynamic resistance to price, in which case it does come off, then we know the USD likes around the 50% area. You could use your volume and get into an area where you could buy that up again, USD ZAR. I do like dollar longs. You know, I do like dollar longs. Interest rates, etc. Would make sense. Would make sense. Yeah, I mean, it might not come, Simon. You know, I wish, you know, I don't know. I wish I knew the future, but it might not come. But that's what I think the best entry would be. From here, pull back into it. Look around this 200. Look around that 20. Multiple confluences there. You could get it around that wicked area here. So if we go there, which is basically coinciding with it, right? This area here, roughly around that 50, roughly there. Yeah, I think that area would be where I would look, as long as it's healthy. So as long as it's healthy and doesn't come down quite strong like this. Like, I never take retests that look a bit more like a V reversal rather than an actual corrective. So it's important to see what kind of price action we're getting on that pullback before going long. But yeah, long is a bias on a pullback. All right, guys. I will be CAD Swiss. Okay, Rohit, CAD Swiss. That's the last one. CAD Swiss. I don't know, Rohit. Not up here. If you want to be longing it, you kind of wanted to be longing it from here, right? Or here, really. Going long up there is not something I can really get on board with. I understand it. If you're looking at a breakout retest going with that trend, then yeah, and I would understand it. I don't know how far along that goes. You know, it's the same with these yen pairs. If we look at any yen pair, let's go, maybe Swiss yen's a bad example. CAD yen, let's have a look at CAD yen. You know, I cannot get on board with this. You know, I can't. And I know we're thinking possibly we're getting this, but you know, this weakness in the yen is taking me a little bit by surprise. And I've just got to let this settle, because for me, I just can't get involved. Can't get involved. So maybe Rohit intraday, get a few pips out of it. I just don't know how far it goes. It's better than the others, but you know, it's in a good position. But I'd rather wait for a pullback. Very similar to USD ZAR. You know, you'd rather wait for a pullback before going long, I think. You know, you could come back and retest. It's quite a key area from a weekly perspective, right? So you could come back and retest this area here, in which case that would be a decent entry. But yeah, not right now. Not right now. Hey, Shifath, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. I'm back streaming. Back streaming at 5 o'clock GST, so half an hour. Usually Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it was Easter Monday, so I wasn't working on Monday. All right, guys. Have a lovely day. No problem, Tian. Keep your head up, mate. Keep your head up. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Remember that. When things are going well, this too shall pass. When things are going bad, this too shall pass. There's always tomorrow. Take care, guys. Trade safe. Peace.